Take a listen at the Chadian Transitional President, General Mahamat Idriss Deby, deliver a moving speech, as he presided over the launch of his autobiography, on April 4, 2024, a book that he wrote about himself, to mark his 40th birthday. Many people have been asking the question, for a few days this month, and even now, why the President wrote his autobiography. Because it is rare for a sitting head of state to write his autobiography. There are 5 fundamental reasons that pushed me to write this book. The first reason is religious. The second reason is for Chadian people, the Chadians. The third is for the transition. Certainly, many people have seen me through television, through the media, and I wrote on how I managed the transition. And the fourth reason, it is for history. The fifth and last reason, it is to serve as an example. I explain. For the first reason, which is religious, today, I thank God I am 40 years old. As they say, in young people's language. I am 40 years old, in correct French. So, it is for me a reason to thank the Almighty, who created me from nothing, and who made me the man I am here before you. He created me from nothing, and brought me to the top of the state. I would like to thank God for everything He has done for me during these 40 years. We can't do anything for the Creator, we can just thank Him. It's the only thing we can do to God. So, through this book, I really read you, thanking Him. 40 years is not given to everyone. 40 is the age of maturity. In our religion, even in our immense customs. 40 years is when you become a complete man. 40 is the age when we should no longer make mistakes. So I implore the Almighty who created me, from nothing, and who made me what I am today, to continue to protect me, to guide me, to give me long life, and paradise in His world. Because this life is ephemeral for any believer. What we seek is paradise, after having passed into the other world. This is the first reason that pushed me to write this book. The second reason, a few years ago, I was just a soldier, a general, who commanded one of our large formations. I was the DG of the DGC, After the sudden death of the late Marshal, peace to his soul, I was appointed to preside over the destiny of our country. After 3 years at the head of our country, it is my duty to tell my story to the Chadian people. It is my duty to write my autobiography myself, so that Chadians know who Idriss is. Who is this Mahamat? Who is this Mahamat, who is at the head of the state? Who is this young man called Mahamat Kaka? Who has the destiny of our country, and they have the right to know who I am, because despite doubting myself, I became a public figure whom they have the right to know. My childhood, my military career, my background, and what I did during the transition. This is the second reason that pushed me to write this book. The third reason is the transition. Chadians discovered me. Many of them discovered me through the media, through speeches, but they don't know how we managed this transition. So I wanted to explain to my brothers and sisters, very candidly, how we managed the transition. There are public things, and there are things that are managed silently. So, I try to make public things that we have managed in a silent way for the benefit of our people. In short, I wanted Chadians to know how I managed our country for 3 years. The fourth reason is that for history, we are human beings, we are not eternal. Certainly, we will die one day or another. So, I wanted to leave a trace of myself. I wanted to tell my story myself, so that the future generation knows who was the one who ruled Chad for a time, a period of time. It is rare for a sitting head of state to do this. But there is always a beginning to everything. I hope this is a true example to other leaders, who are presidents, prime ministers, great presidents of institutions, so that they can tell their story, their own story, while they are alive. Like that, you will have left traces, and the future generation will have an idea of you. An idea about your childhood, an idea about your career, An idea for the contribution you have made to the management of public affairs, and also for others who are in liberal professions, such as writers and businessmen. So, these kinds of books, we need to encourage people to write. And the fifth and last reason, as I said earlier, is to serve as an example. I would like, through this book, to encourage young people, young decision makers, so that they can write their own history. Their own history will be in books. It is by writing that in the world today, if I could say so, the Western world knows its history. Certainly, a few years ago, we didn't have many writers. But today, whether in Africa in general, or in Chad in particular, we have many intellectuals who assert themselves, and that is what will complete the history of our country. These are the 5 fundamental reasons that pushed me to write this book. And it's a book with 6 chapters, 169 pages. It's not easy to write 40 years of life with a single book. But I tried to say as much as possible, and with frankness. Certainly, as my dear elder, Dr. Ali said, my frankness perhaps will touch a few people. I would like to ask them for forgiveness in advance, because I wanted to be frank with the Chadians, and to the Chadians, I would like to let you taste the book. And maybe you will criticize it yourselves. I am another human, I am not perfect, but I try to write my story. And I hope that through this book, people will know who I am. According to the book, Idriss is Christian. If it says it's Christian, I affirm it, it's Christian. I am not a writer, this is the first time I have written. I tried to tell my life story, and I hope you will discover me in this book.